She's lost her way. She's been taken over by the radical left. She may be radical left herself, but she really has lost her way. I spoke to her about guns yesterday. She didn't even know what I was talking about. The whole party is taken over by the left. And thank you very much. My poll numbers have gone up, but I don't want them to go up for this reason. Nancy Pelosi, as far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, she's no longer the Speaker of the House.
President Trump calling out Speaker Pelosi a day after she announced a formal impeachment inquiry against him. After all, he wanted to get something done in this session. Our next guest warns the impeachment effort will be a historic battle. Joining us now with this take is former DOJ attorney and senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, Hans von Spakovsky. Hans, first off, do you see the president in this 5 pages doing something that would warrant impeachment?
No, I don't. He neither directly or indirectly threatened the Ukraine. He didn't say anything about withholding any kind of aid in exchange for anything. And I just don't see anything. There's no smoking gun in that conversation, if that's what Democrats were looking for.
Well, I mean, you have that, and you have the fact that aid did go on hold until September 11th. Senator Portman was the one who picked up the phone and said, Mr. President, you don't want to leave this out here too much longer, and he went ahead and did it. So when Democrats point to that period to say it's a quid pro quo, what do you say?
No, I don't think they can really make that case. And look, the one thing that the president did is he asked the Ukrainian government to try to take a look at some of the corruption over there, and that included the fact that we do know, because he admitted it, that Joe Biden actually threatened to withhold $1 billion in aid unless they fired the prosecutor who was looking into his son's job with a Ukrainian energy company. Now, that is a legitimate inquiry.
Interesting. So the Q poll, Quinnipiac poll came out. They asked people, should President Trump be impeached? Only 37% said yes, 57% said no. Now, today, the DNI goes up to Capitol Hill and answers a question about the whistleblower, the anonymous whistleblower. He or she heard this call. Reportedly, 90% of the complaint, well written according to Adam Schiff, is about the phone call. What does this do to the battle that you think will be epic and historic?
Look, if 90% of what the whistleblower is talking about is this phone call, then I really don't see what he's complaining about. And it makes it look like this intelligence analyst or this agent is simply going after the president politically. Because, again, the transcript makes clear that there wasn't anything in there that was unconstitutional, unlawful, or somehow outside the authority of the president, because he's got great authority when it comes to foreign policy matters and the ability to talk and negotiate with foreign leaders.
Hans, in our lifetime, I was very young, but in the 70s and in the 90s, we saw impeachment. How does this play out?
Well, there's only been 2 presidents impeached in all of American history, and both of them were acquitted once the Senate held the trial. So even if the House were to vote articles of impeachment on the president, remember, that's just a list of charges. It then goes over to the U.S. Senate, and I think the likelihood of the U.S. Senate finding the president guilty, unless they could actually come up with some high crimes and misdemeanors, I think that's just not going to happen.
Well, you have to run an election, and you have to do the country's business. Does anything get done?
Well, it sure doesn't look like it. I mean, look, Pelosi said she's got 6 different congressional committees looking into this rather than taking care of all the bills they have before their committees. So I don't really see how they're going to get the regular business of Congress done.
Hans von Spakovsky, thanks so much for joining us, senior legal fellow at Heritage. Appreciate it. We'll see what unfolds today with more drama on Capitol Hill.
Thanks for having me.
You got it, Hans. Straight ahead.